This is fun. Why don't I review albums more often? Low Roar are an Icelandic chamber pop outfit that intrigued me with their first album and totally floored me with their second. The group combined folk music with a little bit of electronica, as well as some drawn out, long-winded, droney ambient music as well. On their sophomore release, Zero, they had some crunchier, noisier, more dynamic tracks in there, with so much more bombast than I expected, but it actually helped the biggest emotional climaxes of that album flourish and build and have so much more impact. It even caught the attention of those dudes making that next Hideo Kojima game, Death Stranding. And on their third release, they seem to be toning things down and emphasizing far more that electronica sound, especially with the opening track that has this electronic beat work.
Don't be so serious. Don't be so serious.
But this is actually very well complemented by the chilly pianos and the soothing, swelling strings that seep in as the song progresses. That and I think the song itself is just very dreamy and pleasant, and those dreamy and pleasant sounds continue to be heard on the next couple of tracks, like Bones, which has glockenspiel chimes, as well as what sound like plucked string arpeggios on a harp or a guitar, I'm not too sure. But I can say that they do very much sound like the sonic textures that you might associate with winter. Very wintry album, this one, and it's very clear from the first track onwards, and it only continues to be evident. Everything on this album actually sounds very dense, and there's no shortage of moments that sound absolutely beautiful. Continued with the acoustic guitars on St. Eriksplan, a song which towards the end contains this amazing crescendo as trumpets blare and flutes flutter, and this moment seamlessly shifts into the next track, Give Me an Answer. Low Roar aren't doing anything outstandingly new here, maybe giving a bigger emphasis on the use of electronic sounds here, but the acoustic and arranged instrumentation still makes their way in spades. And the lyrics on this album deal heavily with unfulfillment in love. I know, sounds quite cliche, but it's the poetic, chilling ways that this album presents these themes that make Low Roar's new album seem refreshingly humane. The line on Without You that describes the oil drying up in a rusted tin heart is such a wrenching image, and the notion of feeling like you've been waiting or grasping onto hope for way too long for it to ever pay off has never been more vivid and devastating than the track Waiting, and in brackets, 10 years. The narrator describes confrontations with their love interest as if these were memories from long ago, not actual events in the present. It makes this album feel like a cold moment in like a winter cabin where you're flickering back through old photos, and the narrator spends tracks like Gosia or St. Eriksplan absolutely conflicted between regrets and who's in the wrong and how the future will play out from here on out. However, what makes Low Roar's latest release here flourish the most is its ability to will us this wintry and touching atmosphere that we can get lost in for a full 50 minutes. Because these tracks have such good composition, the instruments are so well picked for a certain moment, or mood, or atmosphere, or to strike in you, to evoke a certain feeling. Be it the icy piano melodies using the higher register of the keyboard, or the glockenspiel melodies that add to the ambience those chilling strikes almost like icicles falling from the ceiling, or the glitchy sounding electronic manipulations on the title track that perfectly emulate that feeling of encountering unfamiliar territory or venturing into a brand new place that you've never been before and you feel so uncomfortable. It's only fitting that the lyrics highlight that sense of feeling lost but also hoping to get back on track. It knows when to be dense and crescendoing like on St. Eriksplan, and knows when to be subtle like on Gosia. They even apply this infectious groove on the track Give Me an Answer, which still manages to sound frigid and tense in its own right. And most of all, each song just seamlessly moves into one another, so the album is ultimately left sounding cohesive and like one long journey through a glacial landscape. So when a track seems to end out of nowhere, it doesn't feel disappointing because it just moves on to the next track. So really, Low Roar's new album works far better as just a whole musical piece as opposed to just, you know, picking one song out from the track list. It never overplays itself, and because of that the music is never overbearing, and even during the instrumental cuts like 13, there is no lack of fulfilling, lush, heart-wrenching instrumentation and melody writing that will just grab your heart and just kind of play around with it for a little while. Thing is, the music sounds so straightforward that you wouldn't even suspect a thing. My rating kind of lies within like the range of a strong 8 to a light 9. I think I'll give it an 8 out of 10 for now, but we'll see how it changes as the year goes on. We'll see how it ends up on that year-end list.